Walk through a big box store today, and the change is visible. Best Buy has systematically ripped out its DVD and Blu-ray aisles. Netflix recently mailed its final red envelope, shuttering the disc delivery service that built its empire. The statistics reflect a total collapse. Since 2008, spending on physical video games has dropped by 85%. Physical movies are following a similar trajectory, with DVD sales down 86% over that same window. We accepted this shift because of the immediate benefits. Digital storefronts offer instant access, zero physical clutter, and dynamic flash sales that make building a massive library feel effortless. Millions of us willingly traded our plastic cases and desks for a promise of convenience that seemed too good to pass up. However, there is a legal chasm between buying a book at a yard sale and clicking a Buy Now button on a digital storefront. On a digital platform, that purchase is often a legal fiction. You aren't buying the movie or the game itself. You are purchasing a highly conditional temporary license to access a file. As we moved our libraries to the cloud, we replaced the tangible laws of property with a hidden layer of corporate permissions. For over a century, physical media relied on a principle called rights exhaustion. Once you bought a physical copy of a work, the creator's control over that specific object ended. You had permanent dominion over your copy. To bypass this, corporations introduced two distinct layers of control: digital rights management, or DRM, and end-user license agreements. These tools were designed to legally rewrite the terms of purchase. This review of the digital economy explains the shift. Intellectual property holders use technical means to define exactly how a consumer uses a product. Scanning further down, researchers note this trend, replacing ownership with mere usage rights, is effectively irreversible. This places the digital consumer in the role of a perpetual renter, bound by invisible contracts that dictate the terms of their own property. Even if we don't read the fine print, our brains recognize the difference. Why do we instinctively assign less value to a digital file than we do a physical disk with the exact same data? Wharton researchers call this psychological ownership, a cognitive link built through tangibility. Because physical items can be touched, resold, or lent, they create a possession self-link. Digital files lack the mercuriality to establish this same sense of control. This chart proves the point. When a piece of media is highly relevant to a person's identity, like their favorite movie series, their intention to buy the physical version climbs significantly higher than their interest in the digital one. This lack of psychological ownership is why a digital library often feels emotionally hollow, and why it possesses zero value on the secondary market once the initial purchase is made. There is also a measurable loss in quality. A physical 4K disc offers pure, lossless audio and visuals, while streaming services heavily compress data to fit through a Wi-Fi signal, often interrupting the experience with targeted advertisements. This vulnerability is compounded by the Internet of Things tether. Modern hardware increasingly relies on a constant handshake with a corporate server to function. If that server goes dark, the product fails. This report notes that when smart car companies go bankrupt, owners can lose access to remote keys and basic machine functions, turning a high-tech purchase into what one netizen called a retarded car. Digital tethering also allows for stealth censorship. Recalling 1 million physical disks is a logistical nightmare, but a digital platform can swap out or alter a file instantly, modifying the work without the user's knowledge or consent. This gives corporations a permanent backdoor to unilaterally alter or degrade a product long after you have paid for it. The shift to a license-only world places the gatekeeping of human culture in the hands of a few tech institutions. They become the final arbiters of what remains available. This impacts public libraries the hardest. As this text details, publishers like HarperCollins have implemented policies where a library's ebook license is forcibly terminated after it has been lent out just 26 times, citing the physical wear of a non-existent object. The licensing model turns our shared cultural history into a series of expiring subscriptions, where long-term preservation is secondary to recurring revenue. In response, consumers are demanding true ownership. This has sparked a boom in boutique physical media labels and record stores, proving that a significant niche refuses to let their libraries be digitized. Independent organizations and collectors are now the primary force preserving cinematic and gaming history. By funding high-quality restorations and physical archiving, they ensure art continues to exist in its original state. Streaming remains an excellent tool for discovery, but it is structurally incapable of serving as a permanent archive. If a piece of media defines your identity or brings you true joy, a physical copy remains the only safeguard against its disappearance. Because in the digital age, if it isn't on your shelf, it isn't truly yours.